I guess in a nutshell, Filmanatix is a video production company that creates films, that tells people stories, mainly businesses, and just helps convey their message, whether they sell a product or a service, and we just show that in a creative way.
Right. Where'd you meet, Benjamin? Where'd you all meet?
Actually, we met as childhood friends. Our parents knew each other; they were friends, and so I think we met at around 7 or 8 years old. So,
oh wow,
we grew up making like short films and just playing around with cameras. And
so y'all been doing this a while, like way back when. How did you, coming out of high school? What was your goals coming out of high school? Like, was it the traditional path? Like everyone told me, like, man, you better go to college. If you don't go to college, you're up the creek, or, you better figure out, because I became a coal miner. I was a coal miner for 9 years. What was your path after graduating?
For me personally, I didn't really, growing up, it wasn't really a thought to be, I guess we kind of played around with the idea of it'd be awesome to do some videos growing up, or we always thought maybe working for the news would be cool, just be anything to do with a camera, I guess. But really it wasn't taken real serious, doing video production until about, end of 2014, beginning 2015. I didn't really know what I was wanting to do. I think he had a few jobs, good jobs that he was doing, but I was kind of just, for me personally, I didn't have a plan really. I wasn't planning on going to college or anything. Just trying to find something that was good for me as make a living.
Right.
Yeah, I think for me personally as well, as I think for any college or any high school student, was get a good paying job. And so for me, I actually went into computer aided drafting. Then I went to college for a year, got an associate's degree. And so I was more into like the engineering field just because I thought that was one of the higher paying jobs you can get. And so I didn't really think about entrepreneurship until after I kind of started that career.
Yeah, you started your third business now, is that right? You started the CrossFit, and then you recently opened a coffee shop here in Charleston, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. So, when did you figure out, I can turn on a camera and make something and tell someone to pay for it? Was it a certain video you made and people were like, man, that was really good? Or did you kind of build that confidence over time?
Speaking for me, we always, since we were making films for a long time, we had the little tape recorders that, obviously you have to edit in camera, and, they were trash. They weren't good at all. But for me personally, without him, I did a wedding for a friend. It paid me like $200.
That was my first wedding. They needed $300 because they felt so bad.
I was like, I didn't really know what I was doing. I knew how to film and get certain good shots, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And when I look back on it, it was like, video kind of is not good.
Right.
But they loved it. So that family was like, man, you should be doing this full time or something. So, but that was way before Filmanatix even began. But I think at that moment, you kind of realize that, you might have something that people, even to us, if it seems simple and easy, to other people, it's impressive.
Sure. Yeah. How did you know when to raise? Because I know with me, I get nervous when it comes time, you're staying busy all the time, and like I have to raise or turn people down. So how do you know when it's time to do that?
I think for us, we just kept doing it until you get people to say no.
It was kind of like, we didn't really have a plan of like, it kind of just, you started saying, okay, when you do the cheap videos or when you do videos for low price, you were kind of like, okay, you see how much time goes into it. You start seeing, what other stuff it's pulling you from. So it's like you kind of start to gauge it, and then just slowly starts getting, but for us, I feel like it jumped pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, because you test it. So when you first start, you're like, man, $500 for a video? Let's try it. And then someone says yes, and you're like, can we do $750?
Right.
And then you get a yes, and you're like, okay, can I do $1,500, several thousand? It just keeps going until people are saying no.
Sure, yeah. Do you kind of mask that? Like, because I feel like if I'm not confident in my price, they're going to notice. Like I'm gonna have the reason it costs this much. I'm gonna break it down to a model that I can show them. Like, look what all goes into this video, because I think a lot of people don't realize the actual work put into a polished video. So, did you come up with a pricing structure and then kind of raise that over time, or did you do a day rate, an hourly rate?
I think we had a structure when we first started. We came up with prices. As we progressed into a bigger business, we have more of a structure. We have a calculator that determines if someone wants this, this, and this. We know how much work goes into it. We know how much labor, how many locations, and what that's going to cost us internally. But when we first started, though, it's just you just got to pick a price and then learn from it, and then you can continue to make changes as you grow.
Benjamin, like, do you all have a formula for how you do videos? Do you approach every video with like a scientific process, or are you trying to break the mold every time, or
It does depend, I guess. So we try to, based on what the customer wants or what they need. I think it also depends on our relationship with the client. Like if we have a continuous relationship with them where we're doing videos, very often for them, we might approach it a little differently. Instead of making one large video for a company, where it's, very scripted out and everything's kind of in place. It might be different for a company that we're like making stuff over time, and you can cover each one of those little pieces over time. Honestly, I don't know if there's a specific formula for every single time that we make a video or come up with a video. There is maybe a process, a specific structure of how it's going to go down, but maybe not a direct way of
because a lot of that formula is dependent on the client, because sometimes they have, obviously a goal or an outcome. And so you have to make sure that you include certain things that the client wants. And of course, if we had a client that gives us creative freedom, we're like, oh, okay, so we can really shine here.
Yeah.
So it's a balance.
Right. Yeah, I totally understand that. So, when did you decide, of course, how big is your team now?
We have 9 people.
9. So how did you grow? How did you decide to add people to the team and get them to buy into the whole mission of Filmanatix?
Well, to be honest, there just started to be more work to where it's like we couldn't do it all. We were like, eventually we started making enough to where we had a good amount in the bank, and we were like, we have so much to do, we're probably going to need to hire somebody. So we started looking. And then honestly, we started finding people that we already knew, and we had to kind of train them to do video, basically. So it was kind of like, it wasn't, it's like nothing that we did over the course of us building the business was really planned. Everything kind of just happened by circumstance, I guess.
Sure. And you're both self-taught with video, right?
Yeah.
So, did that help with the training process? Like, how did you bring someone in and show them, like, here's how you be structurally creative, have fun?
Honestly, I growing up, I watched, like, I was so passionate about like filmmaking throughout my entire like childhood that I would go on YouTube and just watch hours and hours of content about filmmaking, directing, cinematography, lighting, all that sort of stuff. And so I built up these people that I would follow, right? And so a lot of times it would be easy to, when someone comes on, go look at these, and it makes you into me. Because that's what we needed. We needed people to basically be us, because we were losing time on getting stuff done. So the things that I learned and or the people that I follow that I admired, I had them watch and kind of.
What channels did you watch?
Oh, a lot.
Film Riot?
A little bit of Film Riot. Like, I don't know if you've heard of Daniel Schiffer on YouTube, or Peter McKinnon.
Yeah, Peter McKinnon.
Maddie Hapoya, J.R. Ali. Like, not even if they're not teaching you something, if you watch the style of the videos, that's a lot of times where we would get our, build our style from.
I can see that. I'm glad you brought that up, because you all have been really good at marketing yourself. You built a really good following. Do you all still do the vlog? I know you did a lot of vlogs back in the day. And
when we first started, that probably attributes to a lot of our awareness in the community specifically. There was a guy that I found on YouTube. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk, and he talked about pushing, your content consistently on social media platforms. And so we were like, well, let's try some vlogs creatively in our own style and run some ads in our community. And so people started seeing us, dealing with people, creating content. And so I think that really helped bring awareness of our brand.